Or
Very good contact.
Yes.
Oh, all right. Invite each over for tea now and then.
We hang out. It's great. And much of what you've imparted to us today has come to me in different ways along the way.
Yes.
And
all of this is available to all of you.
And there's one, thank you, yes. And there's one question that is challenging me, and I'm hoping that you can clear it up.
What is your exciting challenge?
Oh, my exciting challenge is that I am unclear about how child abuse or abuse of, let's say, war in a country where innocent people in their home just going about their business are suddenly traumatized.
Yes.
And I would love to understand your perception of that.
I will give you 2 out of many reasons why such things can occur on your planet. All right?
Thank you.
Number 1. An individual, as a spirit, may choose to come into a situation where they know something like that may occur, so that they know also that the occurrence will allow itself to act as an example to others in that reality, so they can look at what their reality is like and decide to make sure that that never happens again.
Yes.
So that being will have, in that sense, endured that in order to function as a living example that can change reality and change people's ideas about how they wish their world to be. Secondly, when you are born into physical reality on your planet, because of the nature of the way consciousness has compartmentalized itself, many individuals will receive or get downloaded by their parents telepathically with their parents' fears, doubts, and so on and so forth, and the negative belief systems. When these are imprinted into the child and the child grows up without necessarily knowing that they are carrying these imprints, they may thus unknowingly attract themselves into situations that are representative of the negative fears that they are unaware of. And the negative situations that happen thus bring to their attention that they may have belief systems that would make it more likely for them to attract themselves into such situations than anything else. And that can act as an example for them to get in touch with that, so they can also change that situation for themselves.
Yes, I see that.
All right. These are 2 ideas of why such things happen. It is not in that sense a justification, but these things can still be used in a positive way to allow things to be different. If you use them that way, then they will have served a positive purpose. If you allow as a species this to simply continue on, then in that sense you will simply be caught up in your own cycle of self-perpetuation. But remember that regardless how difficult, drastic, abusive, heinous, negative many of these things may seem, and again, this is not a justification, it is not an excusing of the perpetrators, because it is up to each and every being to get in touch with their own source of power and understand that they do not need to do those kinds of things in order to express the power that they wish to express. The idea of the lesson here is to understand that these things only really happen on your planet because there is such a strong investment in disempowerment. And the idea is that people on your planet are not taught to believe that they are empowered. They are taught to believe they are disempowered. And when a person is taught to believe they are disempowered, they will rebel against it. And they will take as many people with them down their spiral as they can. Because they don't want to be alone. So it may actually be a distorted expression of love. Because if that's the only way they have been taught to express the idea of connection negatively, then they will express with the only tool they have at hand, destructiveness.
Yes.
You follow me?
I do.
So these are all opportunities for individuals to get a handle on the true core reasons why these things happen and allow the change to occur instead of going into victimization that again has to do with blame, complaint, and justification.
Yes.
Does this help you?
It surely does.
And one more thing, remember, and again, not a justification in that sense, not an excuse. From the spirit level, these things are extremely temporary. Have you ever had what you call a bad dream and then woken up and gone, oh, that was just a dream?
Yes.
All right. When you die and go into spirit, that's exactly what you do. Oh, physical reality, just a bad dream for a moment. It's not really who I am. You follow me?
Yes.
So there's that perspective too. And so from the spirit perspective, sometimes beings will understand that even though they know they may be becoming physical in a world that is somewhat chaotic and expresses itself somewhat abusively, they still know it is not really in any way, shape, or form permanent, and from their perspective, not really real. And they know, even though the idea of the physical mind and the higher self may experience the difficulty, it is still something that the soul can use in a positive way. And the idea is, again, to act as an example to the world, to bring it in front of everyone's face, that if such things are the way of the world and you don't prefer them to be that way, then do something constructive about it. And that way things will change.
Beautiful.
Now, remember also that you're, as a world, pretty much near the end of the cycle of all the negativity. And so, in a sense, there isn't that much time left in which to experience the idea of negative reality. And so, what you're doing now is getting it all up out of your system very rapidly. Bringing it all out onto the table so you can decide what you do and don't prefer your world to be. Make sense?
Yes.
So the more actively involved you people become in the idea of helping to teach empowerment to people who have been taught disempowerment, the greater, faster, and more profound the healing will be. All right?
Yes, and I have another part of the question.
Oh, all right.
I feel like I vacillate between definitely being in touch with my higher self and then some of my domestications, which want me to have a reaction to the abuser.
Yes.
And so I would love to have clarification from you on though I could probably say it's best to send love and to be loving, there's a part of me that fears that if I don't sort of scold or something, that's not the right word, but have some sort of reaction to the abuser, that the abuse will continue. I just answered myself, but
yes,
you
instead of a
too.
reaction, have a response. And allow the energy to be this if you're going to interact. That you understand that they are abusers because they have been abused. And they are only continuing a chain of events. The idea is to allow them to understand, if they wish to, that there is a way for them to feel empowered instead of disempowered. And that will help not only them, but everyone. Does this make sense?
It does. And
the idea of reacting in the negative way. For the initial 15 seconds, your angry reaction is a natural reaction, a natural response that gives you an energetic alignment so that you understand vibrationally that you are a vibration that is different than that vibration. It aligns you to where you stand.
yes.
But beyond that 15 seconds, it then dissolves into judgment.
Right.
And if it dissolves into judgment, what you're actually doing is judging portions of yourself.
And then matching the vibration in
Yes.
yourself to the...
And that's what the phrase means, judge not lest ye be judged.
Yes.
It doesn't mean you're being judged from outside. It means that as you judge, you take yourself to that level.
Yes.
And that's not going to help anyone heal. It's only going to perpetuate more judgment, more abuse. Understand in that sense that it takes a victim to make a victim. You understand?
Yes, I do.
So when you don't look at them as victims, because that's how they look at themselves,
Yes.
and you see them as empowered beings that have the ability to find their power and change, that energy is at least an offering to them of the best opportunity to give them a chance to change, not that they have to. You follow me?
Yes.
And we understand that on your planet, because of the nature of some of those acts, that you have your ways of dealing with these things. But that's only, and ever only will be, a temporary measure. And it will not break the cycle until you actually teach people how to regain their self-empowerment.
Yes.
So, there are a variety of creative and imaginative ways that people are doing that on your planet. You can come up with your own way as well, or a variation on a way that is being done, and you can start at the child level, the intermediate level, the adult level, or all of the above. It's up to you as to what motivates you, what moves you, what empowers you to empower them, if they choose empowerment. But you can make it clear as possible, that that's the choice to make, and that the only reason that they feel the way they do is because they have been taught disempowerment, and that what they are doing that they think is representative of power is actually representative of disempowerment. And you can teach in whatever way works for you that the greatest power requires the lightest touch. Here's an example. You are familiar on your planet with the idea of building blocks, yes?
Yes.
All right. You can take building blocks and build a tower. And then you can take another pile of blocks and just scatter them on the ground. And then ask a person, what is easier, to build a new tower or to knock that one down? They will usually say, well, knocking that one down is easy. Yes. Why is it easy? Because destruction takes no power.
Wow.
It takes power to create.
Yes.
And in those kinds of imaginative examples, you can start to teach people the difference. You follow me?
Yes.
Thank you.
Do you mind if I ask you one more question?
Do I mind? No.
Do you spirit if I ask you one more question?
Go ahead.
We live in a paradigm where pity and sensitivity and compassion are necessary. I don't know, is pity necessary? Compassion is necessary. So when dealing with victims or
Yes.
people who have had abuse,
Yes.
it is expected that we react in a certain way.
Respond with compassion.
Yes.
Do not support the negativity with the idea of pity or sympathy. But empathy and compassion are empowering.
Thank
Pity
you.
and sympathy are disempowering.
Yes,
You
okay.
see the difference
yes, I do.
vibrationally?
I have at times reacted. I'm a very compassionate person. I don't think I could not be compassionate.
All right.
And sometimes my reaction to people's pain, because I react in a different way than what's the general paradigm,
Yes.
has been considered
Cold.
Yes, not cold, but offensive, because
all right.
I like to use humor a lot.
All right.
And so
It is all right to exhibit compassion by also just sitting with someone. You don't have to take them out of their feeling. That's not necessarily compassion, because the acknowledgement of the feeling is the first step in changing it. You can't change what you don't own. So the idea is not to cajole them out of what they're feeling, but to truly be with them in what they're feeling in a way that can then gently guide them in another way, in an appropriate manner. If you rush to use humor to pull them out of the doldrum, you yourself may actually be scared of feeling what they're feeling and not wanting that in your reality, which means you're actually disempowering yourself instead of being able to know you're strong enough to be able to hold them in your energy arms while they go through what they go through and gently coax them back into their empowerment when it's appropriate.
Perfect.
You follow?
I do.
Does that help?
Perfectly. Thank you.
Good day, Bashar.
And who you good day.
My question today is on neutrality.
Neutrality.
Yes. You have mentioned that there is no right or wrong, nor good or bad, but instead negative and positive.
That which integrates, that which segregates.
Yes, which also can be stated as lower and higher vibrations, negative being lower and positive being higher.
In a sense, yes, because
Yes.
it is integrative, thus exponential in that sense, whereas segregational is compartmentalization, which in that sense causes detachment and disconnection.
Yes, thank you. What I see neutrality as is a tool that allows absolute choice to choose what you prefer at all moments.
Yes, and thus you can understand, as we have said, that the universe is actually slightly oriented to the positive.
Yes,
Because neutrality allows you to choose, which is a positive state of being. So in that sense, technically speaking, just to use some arbitrary numbers, the universe is actually 51% positive and 49% negative. Because the middle point, the neutral point, is not actually totally, absolutely neutral. Neutral in and of itself, by definition, affords you a choice, and that's positive.
Thank you. Well, my question is neutrality used to aid one to enlightenment, and is it in the
I just
aiding?
told you it was.
Well, I mean, is it in the aiding from third to fourth, and when one completely understands neutrality and is in a neutral state, does one ascend?
Depends on what you mean by ascend. It always uplifts your frequency, but if you're not done with your physical theme, you will not become non-physical, if that's what you mean, until you're done.
Well, does your society and beings on higher densities, do they still use neutrality?
Always. That is primarily what is used.
But are you only in bliss and there's no moments for you to use neutrality because there's no negativity for you to see?
In a sense, you might put it this way. Neutrality is the lowest state we ever go into.
So exactly. So for us to master it, then we will ascend.
Yes. Which simply means you will shift upward to whatever degree is appropriate for you at that particular moment.
Okay. You have mentioned to me before that there's a certain way of experiencing it, which was in a neutral bubble as an observer.
Yes.
How many different levels of neutrality are there?
There is only one.
Okay. So in that bubble, as seen an observer, seen from that view, is that one level?
If you are asking if neutrality can be experienced from different levels, the answer is yes. But neutrality itself does not, in a sense, exist in different levels. It is a level, in a sense, or a place, in a sense, or a vibration, in a sense, that any level can tap into.
Okay. And one question you didn't answer earlier, which was I wrote this down a couple of days ago, which was the test factor. Is
Yes.
When you make a change, you instantly start to test yourself. And does that go with every single change? Or
It
more?
depends. No. If you understand there is no need to do that anymore, you will not do that anymore.
Okay, but it works more and more on belief systems.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
It's just that, generally speaking, on your planet, your consciousnesses have been so fragmented and so compartmentalized that you have so many different belief systems to bring up that the self-testing may go on for a little while until you finally are willing to let go of needing that.
Well,
Then you won't experience it that way.
Does the self-testing go on if you keep on reacting until you respond to the test, then you will pass it, correct?
Generally, yes.
Okay. And
Unless there is another underlying belief system that says the test will continue even if I respond.
Okay. And one last question.
Yes.
What is the highest vibrational music in our world today?
The highest vibration of a particular individual, you mean?
No.
Physically?
Vibrational music. Music with the highest vibration for uplifting purposes. Well, death metal can be a very low vibration, classical very high, but what's the highest?
I assume you mean physicalized music.
Yes.
One moment. It will, of course, within a certain range, depend upon the vibration of the person hearing it. We understand that there is a general truth to what you are saying about certain forms of music having higher or lower vibrational effects. But in terms of a high vibration, from our point of view, what you heard a while ago is one of the highest.
The instrument that was played earlier?
Yes.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hey, Bashar. Hello.
And to you, good day.
Thank you. So, you mentioned earlier about...
Speak up and be bold so that all may hear what you have to share.
You mentioned earlier about opposite ends of the spectrum, the reds and the violets.
Yes.
I've been experiencing in my dreams and in waking, I just see reds and violets
All right.
popping up everywhere.
All right.
But just those two, the two opposite
That's
ends.
all right. In that sense, you are simply giving yourself representations of the polar opposite vibrations, in that sense bouncing back and forth between them so that you can achieve what we were actually just talking about with the last individual, a sense of balance in between and a state of neutrality that encompasses the entire spectrum.
Okay, cool. And
It's whatever temperature you want it to be.
And in my dreams, whether I accept that I'm dreaming or not, whenever I ask somebody if I'm dreaming, they'll deny it. They deny it. And when I'm awake and I ask someone that if I'm dreaming, they'll say yes.
All right.
Why, when I'm asleep, do they deny it, and when I'm awake?
Again, you are dealing with the concept of polarities and allowing yourself to find a place in the middle. You see, this is another example of what we have termed the watermelon seed paradox. If you have a watermelon seed and you squeeze it between your thumb and forefinger, hard as you can, it cannot go up, it cannot go down. You are faced with a conundrum you cannot answer, and yet you must answer. When you squeeze hard enough, the seed will shoot out in a new direction, neither up or down, but open a new doorway to a new way of seeing. So what you are doing is you're giving yourself paradox and conundrum that you feel you cannot answer, but you feel you must answer, and that will squeeze you in a new perspective, in a new direction. That's what you're doing.
Yes,
These are the games you're playing with yourself energetically to point you in a new direction.
That's great. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
That's it.
Let us now all get into a state of relaxation. Close your eyes, take a deep breath in, and let it out. One more time, take a deep breath in, and let it out. And one more time, take a deep breath in. Hold it. Hold it. Hold it. Hold it. And hold it. And let it out. All right. Now, just allow yourself to relax. Be comfortable. Imagine, if you will, a snowflake. Hexagonal snowflake of intricate latticework, crystalline pattern, frosty and glistening against blackness. It is made of water, crystallized, patterned water. Allow yourself to become very, very small so that you go into the snowflake, into its crystalline structure, in such a manner that you now actually can begin to see the atomic latticework, the individual atoms arranged in a perfect crystalline pattern. And you go deeper in, until you can see the subatomic vibrational wave particle patterns vibrating, spinning in place, each one vibrating, spinning in place, dancing slowly around all the other subatomic particles, vibrating, spinning in place. And just allow yourself to be one of the particles in the center, surrounded by all of these other little packets of light, packets of vibrating, spinning energy, humming, spinning, dancing, staying exactly equidistant from each other in a perfect crystalline lattice pattern, slowly rotating around you, and you feeling the harmonies and harmonics of all the vibrations. Water spinning, water imparting energy, communication, vibration from one particle to another, from one wave to another. Waves and waves of communication, interlacing, interacting, interconnecting. All of the particles, including you, the particle at the center, vibrating, feeling the hum in your heart, in your solar plexus, in your head, the deep, deep vibration. Floating with the particles, slowly dancing, rotating. Water is the buffer between dimensions, the translator, the spinning particles taking the energy of one dimension and either slowing it down for the absorption and integration in a lower dimension, or taking it from a lower dimension and speeding it up for the absorption and integration of a higher dimension. Water is the go-between. Water is the communicator. Water is the translator. Water is the transformer. If your body is dehydrated, you cannot transform. The energy from one dimension to another, passing through a dehydrated body, will burn you out. Hydration is key. Hydration will soften and buffer all transformative energies that are vibrationally aligned with the harmonic resonance of your perfect phi ratio form. Water, cool, liquid, soothing, absorbing, floating. Water. Each little water molecule, vibrating and spinning, transitions energy from one realm to another, up and down, in and out, in many directions at once. Allow yourself to feel immersed in a sea of these spinning molecules, spinning particles. Immersed. So that you and your body take on their quality, their vibrational spinning quality. So that any transition and any transformation may pass easily through you, unimpeded. And allow you to experience the ease of transition, the smoothness of transformation. breath and water, breath and water. Drink deep of this spiritual energy water in its pure, crystalline, glistening form. And understand that what you are witnessing in this pattern is the unconditionally loving support of all that is, infusing you with its very essence. Water is the key to unlocking the mystery of your own being. It is the secret source that allows you to be fluid. Your life, your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs. Fluid, ever-changing, but always expanding in the direction of your highest self. For the good of all of your being, with perfect positive intention and action in harmony. Take a deep breath in and let it out. With every single breath, allow yourself to remember circumstances don't matter. Only my state of being matters. What state of being do I prefer to be? Allow yourself in your own way, with your own voice, whenever and wherever you wish in life, to repeat this mantra and to truly listen and remember that when your physical body says circumstances don't matter, only my state of being matters, that it is a direct communication with and from and to your higher self, so that you may function as a whole being. Take a deep breath in and let it out. Stay calm and relaxed and listen. Just listen to your true nature, your glorious, childlike, playful, free, expansive, loving, creative, harmonious, compassionate nature. That is who and what you are in truth. That is your natural state of being. Why not be who you are? Why not? Why not? Why not? Do not forget to play. Do not forget to act out. Do not forget to treat yourselves to the ways in which you express creativity, to the ways in which you express your passion. Ride the leading edge, the crest of the wave of the transformation of your collective consciousness. Ride the wave of yourself into the future you prefer by being in the now. Take a deep breath and allow yourself to lock in and settle into the recognition, realization, and reality that you are this being, this whole being. You know what you are doing when you act holistically. Trust yourself. And do not leave yourself behind. But if you do, and have reasons for doing so, use those reasons. Dive into them. For any time you use a reason for staying behind to maximum positive effect, you will convert that reason into energy that will propel you forward through the wake and bring you closer to the leading edge. Your beliefs are your fuel. Convert them to energy. Do not let them weigh you down. Convert them to energy, and you will float to the surface and ride the crest of the wave. Remember that the true secret is that there is no secret other than just being you. That's all it takes, and it is that simple. Allow it to be as simple as it was created to be, for now is the time. Take a deep breath. Allow yourselves now to float up out of the crystalline matrix and allow the small snowflake to exist within you as you expand. It is now a part of you, and you recognize that this is what you are actually made of physically. Billions upon billions of little crystalline flakes of energy that glisten and scintillate within you and carry through you the energy of your being. You are the master crystal of your life. You contain the information and the energy required. All the information and energy required to be who you are. You are a complete kit. You need nothing but what is already within you to be who you are. So be it. Take a deep breath. And gently remind yourself out loud, circumstances don't matter. Only my state of being matters. What state of being do I prefer to be? From our perspective, you are all glisteningly beautiful. Please, for the sake of yourself, physical mind and higher self both, please show yourself the compassion that you deserve. See yourself as glisteningly beautiful as we see you, because we know beyond a shadow of a doubt that you are aspects of infinity. Live here and now. Your home doesn't exist anywhere else. There is nowhere else for it to be. Only here, only now. End of one story and the beginning of another. In this moment, you now pass through a vibrational filter from one dimension to another. You step up, you upgrade. Welcome to a new level. Please watch your step. We will, at this time, allow you to feel the wind in your sails as it gently pushes you through the cosmos of your consciousness. Sail with us on the ecstasy. Together, we will find and discover new shores. Our unconditional love to you all. A+. For now, we may continue with discussion or question.
Greetings, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Good day. So, I have a very specific question for which I'd like to go through some background, and you may stop me at any time.
Stop.
Excellent.
Take you at your word.
All right. So, yesterday you spoke about a template level of existence just above our
Yes,
reality.
the higher self level.
In which the higher self resides, yes.
Yes.
At that level, it's been my understanding that energy exists. One of the ways of perceiving energy as existing is in geometrical shapes, geometrical patterns,
Yes.
fractal patterns.
Yes.
And in this level of reality,
You
living
mean your physical level
Yes.
or the template level?
in our physical level. In
Yes.
our physical level of reality, everything is created in an approximation of that template level.
So to speak.
Okay. Now, so for example, would it be fair to say that you must be in form in order to affect form? You must be in manifest form in order to affect manifest form.
Not always.
Okay.
However, by being used to the idea of experiencing some level of manifest form, there is certainly a closer vibrational relationship that may allow for what you are referring to as ease of manipulation. Yes, in general, yes. It isn't an absolute that it must be so.
Okay.
It depends upon the level of cognizance of the consciousness, the reason for the interaction with physical form, and the agreements made.
And the agreements made
And the agreements made.
between your personality self and your higher self, you mean? Or between all
also-
beings existing in that?
Yes.
I see.
And any level in between.
Okay. Now, our consciousness is housed in, or perhaps this, correct me if I'm wrong, but our consciousness is housed in this vessel, right? Our bodies that we
No.
call our body. No.
No. Your body is housed in your consciousness.
I see.
It only appears as if your consciousness is housed in your body from a physical point of view.
Right.
The idea of your so-called spirit leaving the body is simply a physiological reality perspective of your consciousness expanding beyond the parameters of your physical manifestation. So the body is actually contained in the spirit. The spirit is not contained in the body. However, what the body does provide, and what is in a sense contained in the crystallized vibrational pattern of the physical form, is the mind. You understand?
Yes.
The mind, the physical mind, is the product of the physical form and is contained in a sense within it, but not consciousness itself. Make sense?
Yes.
All right. It is expressed through that, but it's not contained within the body.
So what I'm interested in is that expression and how that expression can be most effective, so to speak. How we can most effectively coherently channel energy from that higher plane, from that template plane, into this physical reality.
Act upon your highest joy. Every given moment to the best of your ability. That's the formula. Because that's the compass needle that aligns you to your true self. And thus, when you are acting on your highest joy, being in the vibration of your true state of being, your most natural creative state of being, that allows all communication between all such created levels to become far more homogenized, synchronous, and harmonious. Mm-hmm. Make sense?
Yes.
That's why we say following your highest joy is the driving engine and the organizing principle, not only of the things going on in physical reality, but of all levels of your being as well. It makes you a more conductive conduit.
Yes. In following my highest joy, I've become very interested, fascinated really, by the idea of, or the ideas of sacred geometrical expression.
Yes.
And creating physical objects in utilizing that knowledge in order that they best, or that they better...
that they best reflect that level of consciousness
Yes.
that expresses itself that way in the physical material experience.
Yes. In that search, in that exploration, let's say,
Yes.
I've come to find that one of the things that is used over and over, that comes up over and over, is the golden mean.
Yes.
That ratio.
Phi ratio.
Phi ratio.
1 to 1.618.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, by creating objects, like I understand that our body, our physical body, is already built in that state,
Yes.
and therefore it is a perfect vehicle of manifestation.
Yes.
As you say, we come in with everything that we need.
Yes. It is a perfect resonator.
It is a perfect resonator.
Yes.
However, you still, from what I understand, your society still builds, for example, ships.
Yes.
In what is the purpose of that? Could you achieve that simply with your body, or are the ships acting as an extension of your body?
The ships are acting as an extension, and they are also for the purpose of interacting with dimensions such as yours that still require physical symbols.
Aha. How long do you foresee our dimension requiring those physical symbols? I mean,
About 1,000 of your years.
Okay, so because I am very interested in developing those type of technologies.
Yes, and many people on your planet have begun to do so.
Yes. My question to you then is,
Yes.
where do you recommend, like, how do you recommend I best, what's the source?
How to begin?
Yes, how to begin, where to look.
Research now on what you call your internet system, anti-gravity lifters. Start there.
Okay.
You will find that these are constructions of very light materials, primarily what you call balsa wood and aluminum, being given electrical charges of high voltage. They will begin to exhibit levitation effects, and as you begin to grow in your experience and research and gain more practice with these and understand the effects that are being created, then you will gain more insight into how to take the next step.
Okay. Thank you for that. That interests me as well. However, I wasn't necessarily referring to only propulsional systems.
Neither am I. Because the principles are the same for any kind of energy delivery system. It's just a matter of how you channel the energy that you're tapping into from higher dimensions as to what kind of an effect you create. Be it simply powering things, or creating ships, or opening dimensional gateways, or what have you.
Music.
That too, since it is all about resonance.
It is. So I have here an instrument that I brought. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. It is called the hung.
Define.
Would you like me to show you, demonstrate?
By all means.
All right, thank you.
Just exactly what are you unzipping?
So this is this is an instrument. It's an instrument similar to a steel drum.
All right.
It is a steel drum.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
That's quite similar.
Yeah. It was created in the year 2000 by a Swiss man. Yes. Here you go. This is the hung.
Show it from the side. Bashar, it looks like a UFO, our definition of a flying saucer.
All right.
So, and here's how it sounds. Okay. Now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, one of the things sometimes people will say when they see the crafts on your planet that you refer to as UFOs, sometimes they will be silent, but very often they will also describe hearing different kinds of resonant tones in association with the craft. People on your planet have assumed, because of the way your technology works, that the sounds are the result or the effect of the motivation of the craft, when in fact the sounds are the motivating force of the craft.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
Vibration is the key. And you are on your way to understanding this, quite musically.
Yes.
Understand that we have described the concept of moving from location to location in a different way than your people think of location. The idea is that location is not a place that an object exists in. Location is one of the properties of the object. And an object in location A is not the same object when it is in location B, because now it has the vibrational resonant variable of location B, and that makes it a different object.
Yes.
If the object in location A were suddenly engulfed and overwhelmed by the vibration equation that represents the object in location B, the object would simply have no choice but to move to location B instantaneously, because that's its new vibrational signature.
I see.
So if you make sure that the craft in that sense is very, very thin and light, so that there is not that much material in it, and so that a vibrational resonance can easily overwhelm the natural vibration of its tendency to stay in one location, then it will have no choice but to take its cue from the new vibration and move.
I see.
Thank you.
Thank you. If I may, one more
Yes.
thing.
Yes.
So, in the as I said, I don't know if you can see this on a physical level as.
We can sense
I
the
see.
energy involved.
All right. Well,
We see it as an intricate, interwoven web of patterns.
Okay. Now, in as I see it, in a physical form, in its physical form,
Yes.
it is very close approximation of a 3D rendering of the object known as a vesica Pisces, the
Yes.
intersection
Yes.
of two circles.
Yes.
I've theorized that if it were a more perfect rendering of that, it would increase its, let's say, efficiency, potentiality.
Your theory is correct.
I see.
Although there are variations depending upon the different dimensions that such a device may choose to inhabit.
Can you please clarify that?
Your dimension, in that sense, will look at the vesica Pisces in a certain way, but in other dimensions, it will be of a slightly different shape, although to them it will appear to be normal, but to you it would appear to be distorted
I see.
because of the dimensional vibrational difference.
I see.
Nevertheless, it is the change and shift in frequency that represents the distortion that allows the craft to go from one dimension to another. But you can begin with what you understand to be the perfect ratio for your reality.
Now, and so in that sense, would you still recommend that I research the same thing that you recommended? The
I would.
Okay.
Because it still has to do with resonance, and there is still much for you to discover in that concept. Use what works. You don't have to use what doesn't. But there are bits of information in there that you will be able to add to what you are doing that will make a difference down the road.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
Does that help you?
That does help me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Transformation. As we have said, obviously, wherever it is you decide to position yourself, either at the leading edge or in the wake, there will be consequences commensurate to whatever vibratory gradation you are choosing to reside in. I will now explain and describe one of the effects that is now going on relative to us and others like us with respect to this vibrational wave of your leading edge of critical mass consciousness. Some time ago, in terms of time as you count time, we told you that things would be speeding up, and that if you did not align yourself very rapidly with your true passion, it's not that you couldn't do it later, but that you would make it more difficult to do later because you would feel that you had to hurry up and catch up, and there would be more details for your rational mind to have to deal with and integrate in order for you to match the frequency of the now accelerating leading edge of that wave. Here is another example of what we mean by that, and why it is so important, if you wish to be true to yourself, to really let yourself go to ride that leading edge and not hang back. But again, it's up to you. But here is another effect with respect to us. You must understand, we have an agreement with your collective consciousness. In order for us to be able to interact with you in this way, in order for us to be able to impart these kinds of ideas and this kind of information to you and to share with you and discuss with you these notions, we have to abide by the vibrational agreement we have made. As you accelerate, and I know this is going to get a little bit heady, but follow along. It'll be worth it. As you accelerate, every moment you change, you are creating new parallel realities to go along with the change in you. Because every change is a total change, as we have said. And when you talk about total change, we mean universal change. So every change is a whole new parallel reality. Even if one parallel reality may be only different from another by one atom, it's still a completely different reality. Totally different. And as you change and as you make decisions, you go through, you bring yourself through a succession of parallel reality shifts so automatically, so smoothly, you don't even always recognize that that's what you're doing. But you see, movement itself, the perception of movement of any kind, is actually the perception of a succession of parallel realities. This is one reality. This is another. 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 And in between those positions were an infinite number of other parallel realities that we have all just agreed to go through together. And so we all think we're all in the same room at the same time, and that nothing much has changed except maybe that it's getting a little bit closer to lunch. But you see, for as many of you as are quote-unquote in the room, there are that many rooms. Literally, distinctly different rooms. And each of you is actually creating that room and all the people in it in your universe, just as someone else is agreeing to create that room and all the people in it in their universe. And those two points of view will actually not only be slightly different as points of view, they will not actually be different points of view of the same room at all. They will be points of view of completely different parallel reality rooms. The only reason you have a common experience at all is that you agree to in any way, shape, or form. But here is the thing. As you upgrade, as you levitate your frequency, as you raise it up and enlighten yourself and create parallel realities, shift yourself to parallel realities that are more representative of that change, then as we have said, certain things will no longer be experienced or perceived by you, because they are simply no longer of the vibration of the new reality you have shifted to. This, we believe, we think, we suppose, we assume, you all kind of get. But what you may not realize is that our agreement with your higher consciousness allows us to interact with you in certain ways on certain levels. But when you shift yourself to another level, you are then allowed to perceive that aspect of us that has made the agreement to interact with you on that level. But if you don't shift to that level, you will not perceive that aspect of us that has agreed to interact with anyone on that level. And as things change, and as the leading edge of your collective consciousness moves forward toward critical mass, a lot of the positions farther down the line in the wake of the leading edge are vibrationally no longer representative of our ability to interact. And so, for anyone staying in those vibrations, we and all such information will begin to unplug and disappear from your reality as we move up the line. That's why we urge you to keep pace with us. Because if you experience that sensation of being left behind, it's not because we're leaving you behind. It's because you're choosing to be left behind. Because we are not in control of this. You are. It's your consciousness determining these different gradients within the collective wake behind the leading edge. We cannot and are not allowed to and are not in control of interacting at those points farther down the line anymore. We have no say in it. When your collective consciousness determines that somewhere far down the wake is no longer vibrationally conducive to the vibration of our interaction with your consciousness in that state, then it is your collective consciousness that is making that reality experience happen. We cannot control that. We do not control that. We are not leaving anyone behind. You are choosing to be left behind if you no longer experience us or information of this nature in those states. That's why we urge you, come with us, come with us. We are always inviting you to come with us. But coming with us means you must change. Because where we are all going, the you have been cannot exist. So we are constantly inviting you to come with us. If you don't come with us, it's not because we have left you out. It's because you have. We don't wish you to. That's why we constantly invite you to change and are constantly constantly reflecting the nature of that change so that when you pick up on it and when you match our frequency, you can change in that way and be equals with us on that level and move forward toward more and more and more and more and more crystallized realization and manifestation of contact, wherein we will then be on a similar enough vibratory level that we can simply continually interact from that point forward. But if you don't move forward through what you may perceive to be changes you don't want, you will not be able to actually experience that reality, and you will no longer be able to experience us or anything like us, because we will simply no longer be germane for the gradient in which you have chosen to remain. Ooh, that rhymed. This is the nature of our agreement with your collective consciousness. So it's out of our hands, and that's why we've always said it's completely up to you. Completely up to you. But things are accelerating. Things are changing. That's the reason why you perceive changes in us. Changes in our agenda. Changes in our accessibility, our availability. Come with us. Come with us and learn new ways of accessing what we are, what you are, what the universe is. And then you will know you are never cut off. You are never left behind. You are never out of touch if you don't prefer to be. But the physical mind may say, again with its rational self, but I want to be in touch this way or that way. But that may not be conducive to the leading edge. Therefore, in its insistence to be in charge, it will remain where it chooses to remain, and it will receive the consequences of the vibration of that gradient. No more, no less. And it can choose to change from there anytime it wishes, but again, it will do so in a different way. And it will not necessarily have available to it the same things it did have when it had the opportunity to take advantage of the things that existed in that gradient for as long as they did. Move with it. Move with it. Ride the wave. Come with us. Come with us. Come with us. We invite you. We invite you. Your higher self invites you to be whole, to be a whole person. The whole secret to the secret is nothing more than just really being willing to be yourself, your full self, and act like it, and behave like it, and know that it's always in your best interests to do so. Always in your best interest to do so. Because that's the definition of being whole. The only way it would not be in your best interest is for the physical mind to make that assumption and behave as if that's true. And of course, if the physical mind believes that's true, then for the physical person, it will be true. And that will be the experience. But it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be, but it's in your hands. It's not in ours. We are not in charge of your collective consciousness. You are. So make up your mind where you wish to be. Remember who you are. Remember that you are equal. Let go of the reasons you are not. There is on your planet another, shall we call it, methodology, permission slip, style, technique, exercise, seminar, that discusses the issues of, again, money, as a symbol, as an idea, to discuss all these things. And it talks about the symptomologies, shall we say, the signs, the symbols that represent a certain state of being. It talks about the idea of how to recognize when you are in a state of self-victimization. The three main symptoms that it talks about are that when a person is exhibiting a state of self-victimization, they will usually do three main things. They will project blame on others for their situation. They will complain about the situation that they are in. And most paradoxically of all, they will actually justify being in that state of being. Blame, complaint, justification are the three main symptoms of self-victimization. So if your behavior exhibits these qualities, then you will know beyond a shadow of a doubt that's the state of being you are choosing to be in. And that will not be conducive to riding the wave, the leading edge. It will be conducive to finding a spot somewhere in one of the swirling eddies down behind the wake, somewhere down the line where you can go ahead and spin your wheels as much as you wish. Until such time as you're tired of that and decide to start going with the flow. Up to you. We cannot change that for you. We cannot. It is not in our power. It is only in our power to remind you of who you are, and then through unconditional love to allow you to choose who you prefer to be. But there are always consequences to every choice. This is not a judgment. It is not a punishment. It is simply physics. All we are suggesting is that you relax your physical mind and get with the program. It's up to you. It's your program. And we're attempting to assist you by defining in detail what the program is, so that you can have clarity about what you're doing and what you prefer to do. And so you can make choices that are based on that clarity. After your lunch break, we will continue to discuss the notion of the difference between circumstances and state of being, the profound difference between these two concepts, and how to use it in a way that will serve you. And also, we will invite question, discussion on these subjects so that you, if you have anything rattling around in your physical mind that wasn't clear to you, either in the recording or in what we have now said, that you can bring it up, because we know those questions are there. He said this, she said this. What does that mean? I didn't think it was that way. What about this? What about that? Yes, all of that after your lunch break. So gather your minds, gather your questions, gather your discussions if you have them during your lunch. Enjoy it, relax with it, absorb it. And love yourselves, love yourselves, love yourselves. We will resume this transmission after your break. We thank you. Enjoy. How's it going? The transformation itself, the accelerating wave of collective consciousness that many of you have intuitively recognized reaches a critical mass threshold in and around your cycle that you call 2012. This simply represents the idea of crossing into critical mass, where you have the potential for total positive reality. You have that now, of course, but after 2012, the idea of positive energy will be so much more available to so many more of you that if you should choose to ride the crest of that wave, the leading edge of that wave of consciousness, you can accelerate so rapidly, you can attract to yourself so rapidly the things that are representative of your passion, of your joy, without knowing in any way, shape, or form how these things could have happened, beyond reason, beyond logic, that again, your life will become literally so dreamlike, it will be at first dizzying and disorienting until you get used to it. Literally, you'll be walking through life like it's a dream, marveling at the miraculous synchronicities that just are popping up as a matter of course. Yes. When you ride the leading edge of the wave of consciousness. If, however, you choose to continue to compartmentalize your physical mind and make it responsible for being in charge, and have to know the how, and have to know the why, and have to know all the details before you'll be willing to believe that the higher self can simply bring this to you, then you will, by choice, position yourself somewhere down the line from the leading edge, in some of the eddies and currents and backwashes in the wake of the leading edge. Now, it doesn't mean that you cannot find benefit in those locations, in those gradations of frequency behind the leading edge. But wherever it is you position yourself, you simply have to understand the effect you create will be absolutely directly commensurate with where you have positioned yourself, and it will not be any more than that. By definition, it cannot be any more than that. As an analogy, your visible spectrum of light, you understand that in the visible spectrum of light, red is a low frequency, the lowest visible frequency you can perceive with your eyes. Violet is the highest visible frequency you can perceive with your eyes in general. We understand many of you are beginning to stretch these boundaries, but for the purpose of this illustration, let's just stick with the common labeling of this visible spectrum. Now, you know, if something exists on the frequency of violet light, it's at a very high level of frequency, very high level of energy. And it will experience the things that go hand in hand with that level. If something chooses to exist on the other end of the spectrum, in the red frequency, it will be functioning at a lower wavelength, a slower wavelength, a lower vibration, and will only experience the things that are commensurate with that level in the spectrum. It's all energy, it's all light, it's all the same stuff, as you say, but the difference in gradation of the vibrational frequency will ultimately determine what is capable of being experienced on that level. If you're operating at a certain wavelength toward the lower end of that spectrum, you will only perceive red. Only! You will never perceive violet at that end of the spectrum. If you are operating at the violet end of the spectrum on a high frequency level, you will only perceive violet. You will never perceive red at that end of the spectrum. Ever. So, the leading edge of the wave of your collective consciousness on this transformation, you can live there and ride the crest, or you can allow yourself to float back into the wake. Somewhere in there will be vibrations that will be representative of whatever degree you are willing to allow your belief system to take hold. So, you must understand that if you do that, there are consequences to that. The consequence being that you can only perceive what is directly commensurate with the level you're on, and nothing else. Nothing lower, but nothing higher. But you are all capable of choosing to ride the crest, the leading edge. All right. Now, when some of you consider this, you get scared. It's going too fast for me. I might fall off. I might crash. I might smack into a brick wall. As if suddenly one would appear. Of course it will if you create it. But again, understand that if you create that brick wall, that's an indication you are no longer on the leading edge. Brick walls do not exist by definition on the leading edge. They only exist back down the line, in the wake, in one of the eddies, in one of the currents that is representative of belief systems that there are such things as brick walls. But if you're truly, truly, truly riding the leading edge, truly, as you say, surfing the crest, then you will understand that just like being on the top of the mountain, you have a clear and unobstructed view of everything in front of you. And you ride that wave right into ecstasy. Ride the leading edge of the ecstasy. Allow yourself the opportunity to know you can. You don't have to choose to. But then if you don't be surprised by what is commensurate for that level. It's completely up to you what to lock onto, what to believe, what to align with, what to associate yourself with. You can, on one hand, say, I understand these concepts. I believe these concepts. I will live these concepts. I am this idea. It can happen instantly, effortlessly, miraculously, wonderfully, joyfully, creatively, lovingly, now for me. Or you can recognize that you tend, quote unquote, choose to gravitate more to informational sources that confirm your own fear. Well, one should take their time. Well, one has to be careful with this stuff. Now, we understand that there is such a thing as recognizing and honoring whatever belief system you happen to have, and not pushing yourself beyond it if you truly don't believe you can, because that would simply be disastrous. But the idea is to understand and to clearly take responsibility for knowing that if you are aligning with someone that says, well, you can't just go full throttle because you have to be careful that you're not doing this and you're not doing that. You might fool yourself here, you might fool yourself there, and you have to take it easy. If you align yourself with that, that's all well and good. But understand that you are choosing to, and it has nothing at all to do with the fact that you could change your belief and allow yourself to ride the leading edge where things manifest instantaneously. You could. But if you are not, it's your choice. And that's, once again, where you really need to be passionate about being passionate and find out why you are choosing to not ride the leading edge. You will obviously have your own reason for not doing so. Whatever that reason is, whatever you feel is the need for safety, is up to you to determine. But just take responsibility and recognize the responsibility and the choice that you are making for understanding that it's not empirically true that you have to do it that way. It's not empirically true that you have to listen to what that person is saying as opposed to what this person is saying. It's just your choice. Take responsibility for it and then be passionate about finding out why you believe what you do, so that you can, if you are willing, open up to new beliefs that will allow you to move up the spectrum and be in the violet instead of in the red, financially speaking. So, allow yourselves to simply at every given moment recognize what you're doing. Let go of the need to understand the how of it. Because you see, one of the things that stops many of you from having the experiences that were described in the recording is that, for example, when someone says, well, you know, I simply got into the state where I believed I would simply receive more checks. Your physical, logical, reasonable mind goes, well, where the heck are they supposed to come from? I haven't done anything to earn that money. What are you saying? That some stranger just suddenly going to get into his head to pop a check in the mail to me for no reason whatsoever, and I'm just going to go to my mailbox and open a check that comes from a total stranger that's suddenly giving me exactly what I want? Yes! Yes, that is what's being said. Yes, that is one possible way. Yes, that is one possible example of what could happen. But when your logical, reasonable, physical mind going, how does that make any sense? The thing to remind it is that it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to make sense. When you stop needing it to make sense, then you'll make dollars. You have got to give up. You've got to give up your need, your physical mind's need for everything to have a reason, for everything to make logical sense in the physical third-dimensional world. If you say you wish to live in fourth density reality, you must give up the things that are commensurate with the three-dimensional world, such as logic, reason, not totally. I'm not saying be willy-nilly, fly by the seat of your pants people. I'm saying be aware of the fact that these things are simply points of view, and that you often stop yourselves from allowing these things to come to you because you logic them to death. You detail them to death, literally. You look for a chain of reasonable connection, and believe me, in fourth density reality, there are many chains that to a third density mind are not reasonable or rational at all. You have asked us, how do we travel from star to star? And we have explained to you, we don't travel from star to star. We're simply here, then we're simply there. The logical mind boggles. But how did you get there? How is it possible to go from here to there without stepping on all the places in between? That's not rational. That's not logical. Yes, it is from a different point of view. I'm talking about not abandoning logic. I'm talking about higher logic. The logic that comes from standing on the mountaintop where you can see the entire valley, the entire network, and where it makes sense to you on the mountaintop to say, if you actually go back 3 steps and then to the left, you're actually going to get there more quickly than if you just go straight ahead. Whereas down in the valley, the logical mind self is going, but everyone knows the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. And if I go backwards, how can I get there sooner than if I go forwards? How? And the higher self goes, ugh. Because I can see that if you go forward there, the bridge is out, and if you take 3 steps back and go to the left, you go on a parallel road where the bridge is fine. But the point is that the language of the higher self cannot always communicate all those specifics to the physical mind, because the physical mind does not always have the capacity for that kind of translation. The only way that dialogue, most often than not from the higher self, translates to the physical mind is simply suddenly the urge to go back. The urge itself, the intuition itself, in the physical mind is the condensation and capsulization of the entire explanation from the higher self, saying, if you go 3 steps back and then go to the left and go down the parallel road, then the bridge is up. But all the physical mind will get is the tug. That's how it translates in physical reality, because the physical mind is not capable of actually perceiving in the same way the higher self is, and doesn't have to know all the reasons why and how. All it needs to do is know that that's part of who you are, and allow yourself to recognize that that is a communication and to follow it, and that you have received the information that you need, because it's on the same wavelength of your joy, of your passion. Why? Because you say it is. And you flow with it, and thus find out that it is. Or resist it for as long as you want, and keep walking on the same road until you get to the washed out bridge and go, oh, why didn't I listen to my intuition back there? Because you thought you were in charge, smarty. But you're not. Not you alone. You are in charge, but not you alone, physical mind. Physical mind, higher self, that's the you that's in charge. Both aspects of your being is the persona, not just the physical personality self. That's only a part of it. So if you want to know you're in charge, you have to behave like the whole you, and be willing to open up and receive and perceive in whatever way it works for you, the dialogue and the communication coming from the portion of yourself that is the higher self, that has the higher point of view, that has the bigger picture, and be willing to understand it's working on your behalf. It's not going to trick you. It's not going to deceive you. The only thing in your reality that can create the idea of tricks and deception is the physical mind's belief system, not the higher self. Because it is only in physical three-dimensional reality that you can have the experience of a personality structure that can actually deny its own truth. So any tricks, any deception that you may be afraid of encountering can only actually be coming from the personality aspect that's actually afraid it's going to be deceived. That's the paradox. It can't come from the higher self because that's a bigger picture point of view. And it can clearly see the road. And there is no reason, there is no logic for the higher self to go, yeah, take the left road. Watch and see how my lower self falls into the river. This ought to be fun. Oops, I went with it. You are under the assumption that the higher self is immune from what you experience in physical reality. Incorrect. You are one being, and the higher self will suffer the slings and arrows that the physical mind shoots itself with. You are one being, and it is not detached from you, and it is not immune to the consequences of the physical mind's choices. But because the higher self is closer to the vibration of unconditional love, it will overlook it again and again and again and again, attempting to unconditionally loving you, reminding you, please take the other road, please. Oh, here we go again. It is not immune to the consequences of the physical mind's acts and choices. Do not assume that it is. But it is close enough to unconditional love to forgive it, and to keep giving you the benefit of the doubt. That's the relationship of your higher self. That's its job. To keep on guiding you no matter what. because it is the vibration of unconditional love that the physical mind often refuses to allow itself to perceive through the belief systems it chooses to buy into that deny its truth to itself. So, higher self says, please, 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 please know you are loved. Please, please, please allow me to love you. Please, please, please love yourself enough to know you're not alone in this. That you don't have to do it all. That you weren't designed to. You weren't expected to. Ever. Not once. Carry this burden by yourself. Let me be your guide because I am you. Become familiar with that portion of yourself. It is not detached. It is not separate. It is not aloof. It is not in its own realm, unaware of what you are choosing to experience. It will also experience it in its own way. But nevertheless, will always overlook it and always urge you forward. Or left, or back, or whatever is necessary. Take a deep breath and let this sink in deeply, deeply, deeply. And allow yourself to at least consider the possibility that you deserve to be on the leading edge of the crest of the wave of consciousness of the transformation. Take another deep breath. Now, in terms of your time frame, what is the time remaining for the segment of this transmission?